I'm just going to dive right in and want to introduce Chelsea. Chelsea is a health and life coach. I actually hired her back at the beginning of the year and we've worked together for months. She's freaking amazing. And she just has a totally different perspective on, well, most things. But with it being mid-January, we feel like a lot of people are probably already feeling like they've like quote fallen off the wagon, and that's just such an old way and like almost like a masculine way of thinking about it too. So not saying that if you're a man, this won't make sense to you, but we just kind of want to talk about goal setting and reframe in a different way, so you can actually set yourself up for success. So take it away, Chills.
Yeah. Yes, I would totally agree with you that there's this sort of systemic, what I'll say, patriarchal stress disorder. Dr. Valerie talks about that a lot. And this unfortunate perpetuating of the constant go, 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 I think often just sets us up for failure when it comes to goal setting and trying to reach those goals. And what I have come to find, especially working with clients, is that one of the key components to goal setting that is missing is really having clarity about what it is that you even want. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to spend a little bit of time getting really clear around our desires, maybe reframing what some of these desires might mean, especially for women in the 21st century. There can be a lot of mixed feelings around desires. And I'm excited to dive in and really just offer some really helpful tips. We're going to have some journal prompts for you to follow that will also be posted in the comments below once we repost this. And may it be of service.
But we thought this was a perfect time, like I said, if you're just joining us, because we figured it was mid-January and people are like, oh, I've already fallen off the wagon. So we're going to walk through like some of the main problems with like traditional goal setting. And we're going to go beyond, you're like, oh, they're going to talk about like SMART goals and being specific, but it's actually a lot more than that. So what is the problem with like typical goal setting when someone's like, I want to be healthier? That's my goal.
Yes. So I think it's important to remember that our subconscious brain always has really great intentions for us. So what that means is, let me back it up. I think the problem with traditional goal setting is that there's a lot of pressure. If somebody were to ask me like, hey, what is it that you want or what is it that you desire right now? Immediately, I almost want to clamp up because I'm like, I don't know. I want a lot of things. I want health and happiness and prosperity and access to clean water and healthy food and sunshine and all these things that are basic human needs. So when it really comes down to goal setting, I think number one, just releasing the pressure. Releasing the pressure can be really, 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 really helpful. And really dropping into, again, that clarity. So step one in this process is simply asking yourself, like, what is it that you actually want right now? Putting aside expectations, putting aside any anticipation of other people's hopes and dreams, and really taking a moment to see that initial want or need or desire and pause and see if it's actually your own or somebody else's expectation of you. I think that's really, really important. Let's just dive into that clarity part. And I'll offer a couple journal prompts here, and then we can kind of explain how that works. So when it comes to figuring out clarity around your desire, so when we talk about desire here, we're really talking about that deep longing in your heart. You know, desire is really, what is it that you want to be feeling every day? So a reframe for what is your goal for 2021, or what do you want in 2020 is simply to ask yourself, how do you want to be feeling every day? So, Molly, we'll use your initial goal as an example. So you said, all right, I want to be healthy. That's my goal for 2021. Go ahead and define what that means for me. How do you want to be feeling every day? If you were to consider yourself a healthy person, what might that actually look like for you?
Just so y'all know, Chelsea and I have already gone down through this, so we've got it all. So yeah, if a lot of people would say, I want to be healthy, really what that looks like to me is just having that enough energy every day to do what it is that I want to do. Simple as that.
Yeah, so feeling energized. So that way you can do all the things on your to-do list and not feel burdened by them.
Right.
Who can relate, right? So, feeling energized, what are the things that you feel like you can do in your life to feel more energized every day? So this is sort of the secondary question, and we're role playing here, and I'm going to inject these little like side notes for anybody watching here today. So the first question is, how do you want to be feeling every day? What do you want? Molly said, I want to feel energized. I want to feel healthy. Great. What does that actually look like on a daily basis? So at this point, I would highly encourage anyone watching this just to write that down. What does it look like for me? What does an energized person look like? What will I be doing every day if I am feeling energized?
It would be getting enough sleep, making sure that I'm not eating heavy foods, like eating foods that I don't want to just say healthy foods, foods that make me feel good.
Yes.
And making sure that I spend have like a set time where I unplug, because when I'm on my phone too much, that totally drains me.
Yeah, I love this. So this is really important for everyone here too, to know that you are all extremely and highly intuitive beings. So every single person here knows those things that give you energy versus drain your energy. And what I love what you said, Molly, like, I don't want to just say healthy or not healthy food, maybe foods that give me energy versus foods that drain me, and activities that give me energy versus activities that drain me. So you have a pretty clear idea about how you want to be feeling and how to get there. So I think the secondary part of goal setting is really tapping into the why. Once we've had clarity around what it is that we want, if we don't know why we want it, we will never follow through. So if you are not doing something that you know will give you energy, for example, if you are scrolling late at night on social media and you know it's zapping your energy, if you don't tap into why it's important for you to unplug, then that habit is going to still be there. And I don't even like to use the word self sabotage anymore. I like to reframe that as your brain is trying to keep you safe, loved, and accepted. It is simultaneously trying to avoid pain and suffering.
Yes.
So, for whatever reason, if we're not doing something that we know will help us, it's not for lack of ability. It's not for lack of gusto. It's not for, I would venture to say everyone watching this is a high performing person. You've got your to do list, you love to get shit done. But if you're not doing something, it's not because you're not able to do it, it's because you're not tapped into why it's important to you. And like, reframe here, mic drop, it might not be important to you, and that's okay.
Yeah, going back to that falling off the wagon.
Yes, yes. So once we have the clarity, all right, Molly wants to feel healthier. What does that actually mean? She wants to feel more energized. Now she knows, okay, what does that actually look like on a daily basis? These are the habits that I want to start instilling every single day in order to give me more energy so that way I can feel like a healthier person overall. To tap into your why, there's two key questions. And the first one is, Molly, what would having that energy do for you?
It would allow me to not constantly feel like I'm behind in my business, and to be able to serve my clients and students at a higher level. And it would allow me to be more present with my daughter MJ and with my husband.
Amazing. Yeah, so having that energy would allow you to be more present. It would allow you to show up more fully for your clients, for your family, for your daughter, for your husband. So all of these different aspects of your life, having this energy would give you the ability to show up with a cup full. Am I hearing you right?
Yes. And I just feel like I need to side note, because this was me actually going through this with Chelsea for real. And Chelsea can tell you I get frustrated super easily. And so, and it can be super easy to be like, what do you mean? Like, why do I want that? Like, isn't that obvious? You know why I want it. But it's really not. Like, you have to say, I feel like you have to like say it. You have to get it out.
Yes. And doing this with somebody who's asking the right questions can be really important. So again, we're going to pop these journal prompts in the comments below for you to be able to work through this on a self inquiry journey in your journal. But if you're having problems answering these questions, it can be really helpful to have someone to kind of draw out your genius. And that's, as health coaches, life coaches, this is what we do.
Mhm.
So let me ask you, Molly, I heard you say that this energy is it will give you the ability to be more present with everybody in your life. So let me ask you, why is being present important?
See, and this is where I'm always like, well, duh. This is where I always start to push back. I guess just being able to, I mean, we all just want to be like the best mom, the best business owner, the best friend, the best spouse that we can be, while also not feeling overwhelmed and um, stretched too thin and burned out.
Yes. And you're doing a great job, by the way. There's no wrong answers here.
We already did this, but now I'm.
Yeah. And some of the other things that you said when we did this before was you'll be able to provide the transformation. No, I think that was mine. You said you won't be operating from a place of resentment.
Yeah.
Right. So being present with your family, being present and fully engaged with your clients and the work that you're doing, it will allow you to work more in flow and more at ease. And it will prevent that feeling of resentment.
Hmm.
Simultaneously, you won't be burnt out. You'll be feeling fulfilled on a daily basis. And you'll feel like all of this hard work that you're putting in is actually paying off.
Right.
Which is then a reminder that life is the destination. Life is the journey, not the destination.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. Totally.
So these two key questions, so in this case, the X is energy. What would having that energy do for you? That is going to give you your literal and figurative why, right? Why is that being present important? And we just listed a few things that are really in alignment with Molly's go-to, her MO, who she wants to show up in the world as. So for anyone doing this exercise, keep repeating these two questions to yourself. So we could dive deeper for the sake of this, this live video. We're not going to do that, just to keep it concise, but you could continue asking these questions. And what is having that daily fulfillment important to you? Getting super, super clear on what it is that you want. What's your biggest desire? How do you want to be feeling every day can be another helpful reframe. What does that actually look like on a daily basis? So what are the things that will help support that desire? Number two, how do we follow through, right? So how do we start reaching this goal? We have to first tap into our why. So the two questions are, what would having that thing do for you? And why is that important? So as Molly said, well, having that energy would allow me to be more present with my family and my clients. Great. So why is being present important to you? And we listed a few things there. Keep repeating those second two questions until you really feel like you land on something that's like, yes, this is my why behind the why.
Yes.
So then lastly, let's talk about the how, the logistics. Okay, now we know what we want. We know why we want it. How do I actually do that? Well, it's important to remember that if you're not experiencing something in your life because it's not because you can't do it, but it's because there's some kind of block. Whether that is a mindset, a habit, some protection that your subconscious mind has implemented in order to keep you safe, loved, and accepted, and is preventing pain and seeking pleasure. So the first question I always ask, great, what do you need to let go of, Molly, in order to be more present on a daily basis with your family and your clients?
Oh, we didn't role play this one. I don't remember.
So you kind of already said some things.
Okay.
Give me examples of things that might take away or distract you from being present.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Got it. So like I said, the getting lost in the scroll rabbit hole.
Yes.
So yeah, that's definitely one thing. Not buying Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal.
Or maybe buying it and really eating it mindfully, right? Food does have a time and place for entertainment, but knowing the difference when we're eating food as entertainment and when we're eating it as nourishment, right?
Oh, that's
So
a joke. So my husband
bringing that
actually bought
mindfulness
some,
to it.
and I was like, "Stop buying this. You're gonna have to hide it in your office. I swear they sprinkle it with heroin. There's heroin on the cereal for
Yeah.
sure." Um, yeah, so that, and then like, you know, a lot of moms I'm sure on here can relate, but like your kids go to bed, your husband goes to bed, and like you just want some time to yourself sometimes. And it's like the late night next Netflix, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that because that's time to yourself. But it's like you could cut it back by like 30 to 45 minutes.
Yeah, and if that's of service to you, right? Like,
Mm.
and this is where we have to start becoming aware of our habits and how they're serving us. So kids are in bed. I'm obviously not working right now. This is my alone time. I want to veg out. What does that look like? All right, that looks like Netflix and a glass of wine. Cool. I'm going to do that mindfully. Now, how am I going to feel the next morning? And how can I take those two things and, number one, let go of the guilt? So maybe what we're letting go of is the guilt and shame around our habits. And then number two, how can we implement, and this is the second question, and we'll review this too, in the how, what empowered action can you then take for a 1% shift towards that health and fulfillment?
Yes, the 1%. I love that. Yeah, just like watching one less episode, and then you're getting a little more
Exactly.
sleep, and you're not as drained the next day. You're
Ex-
still getting your veg out time, but you're not, having that self-loathing moment every morning where you're like, oh, why did I stay up so late?
Yeah, or feeling hungover or emotionally hungover or literally hungover
Mhm.
or whatever it may be, right? And then that feeds that guilt and shame spiral. So, what we need to let go of is the first question in the how. Because remember, we can't move a new couch in until we throw the old couch away. Exactly, Jennifer. It's not, this is how we implement the and more lifestyle rather the either or. So, I need to let go of ignoring my intuition or ignoring my signs of exhaustion. And the empowered action that I want to take for a 1% shift is allowing myself to shut down after I've gotten my fix, knowing that tomorrow I will feel more energized. So it circles back around to the why. So again, we're not forcing ourselves to do things that are not in alignment with us, but we're tapping back into why is this important to me? Because I want to be present tomorrow and I want to show up fully. And I know if I stay up till 3 a.m. and drink a bottle of wine, that's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And then I'm going to really go down that spiral of regret and shame.
Yeah, I don't think I could stay up till 3 even if I wanted to, but I see where you're going with that.
I had my husband had to wake me up on New Year's.
I know. I went to bed at like 10:30 on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
But no, I hear you.
So let's do a quick review and wrap it up. How do you feel?
So clear.
Awesome. So again, a really easy way to set goals in 2021 is to, number one, first get clarity around your desires and allow desire to be an open book. Because remember, whatever we are desiring, it is leading us towards that thing in our life that, I'm going to say dharma. Most people don't resonate with that word. Maybe it's just leading you towards your path. If you love painting, if you desire to paint more, do it. Maybe that's going to lead you to one day being a famous artist and making a bunch of money, or maybe just having a small Etsy account where you're making more money, right? Lean into your desires shamelessly by asking yourself, how do I want to be feeling every single day? That's a really clear, crystal clear question. Sometimes I don't know what I want, but I know how I want to be feeling every day. Number two, what does it actually look like on a daily basis if I feel that way and to help me feel that way? What do I have in my mind that I need to check off my list in order to feel energized? And if I feel energized, what am I doing? What do I look like? How am I acting? Who am I being? So get super specific on what that looks like every single day. The second important piece to this goal setting is the why. Why is this even important to you? Because again, if you're not experiencing something, it's not for lack of ability, it's because there's a block. So what would having that, in this case, energy do for you? And whatever the answer that is, why is that important? So, what would having that do for you, and why is that important? Keep repeating those two numbers until you really get down to something that's like super, super juicy. That's your why behind your why. And then, lastly, how? How do I follow through? How do I make small habit changes? And number one, that is to release, whether it is a habit or a mindset or a person or clutter. You got to clear the clutter. So, what do you have to let go of to clear the way? And then, number two, aim for 1% shift. So, what is an empowered action you can take today, right now, to needle move 1% closer towards that presence, that fulfillment, that energy, that overall arching picture of health?
I love that. And as Chelsea said, all this is going to be when we're going to post this on IGTV, it'll be all in the description. But I did just want to quickly, we didn't plan to talk about this, but I just feel like it was really important. Because I was talking to my VA yesterday, and it was just so funny because she goes, "You're a healthy person. So like, how do I get healthier?" And I was like, okay, well, the first thing is like your stress. Like, and she's like, "Well, I'm really good at compartmentalizing and I'm not really typically a stressed person." I'm like, "So you think that, but you know," and then just to give back another example, I'm reading Denise Duffield Thomas's book, Get Rich, Lucky Bitch. I don't know if you've heard of that, but first I was like, I
You
don't need
shared
to.
it with me the other day, actually.
Yes, it's so good. Because I was like, I don't need to read that. I was like, I don't need to read this book. I don't have any money blocks. Everybody's like, get rid of your money blocks. I'm like, I don't have money blocks. Well, then I come to find out I have a shitload of money blocks. And like I said, I've kind of been in this world, this like mindfulness, like this journey for a while. And I still was like, I don't have any money blocks. What are you talking about?
Yes.
So
This is super important.
yeah, when you're listening to this and Chelsea's saying like your why behind the why and your subconscious is like, and you're like, I don't have any like, I'm like, trust me, you do. You have
Well, and
something.
that's the thing that's important to note, right? Again, the subconscious brain is always, which we operate what, like 95 to 90%, 95 to 97% in our subconscious brain,
On
right?
auto. Mm-hmm.
The brain that is keeping us safe, loved, and accepted, and avoiding pain and seeking pleasure. So we've all experienced trauma in our life. We've all experienced things that have created our identity and who we are. So, in order to change our daily experience, we have to reverse engineer to our habits. And then from there, we have to look at the thoughts that are feeding those, the emotions that are feeding those habits. And then we have to look at the thoughts that are feeding those emotions. And then we can start to look at the identity system that we are operating on, which is feeding our thoughts. Because we're always having information come in, and we're always processing and implementing. And our brain is constantly saying, okay, pivot this way, pivot that way, stay safe, stay loved, stay accepted by your peers, avoid pain, seek pleasure. Like, so we're constantly doing this, right? We are all very good at compartmentalizing stress. And in fact, the patriarchal society praises that. Oh, you mean you are a high functioning stressed person? Cool. Aren't we all, right? All of us that are multifaceted, passionate entrepreneurs and mothers and sisters and husbands and wives, and whatever, whoever we are, how we identify ourselves, of course we're highly functioning. And if we're not highly functioning, we think that there's something extremely wrong with us, which, by the way, that's just inherently not true. Maybe there's some dysbiosis in your gut that's leading to some anxiety and some depression. It's not a big deal, right? If you feel like you are a highly functioning, achieving person, you definitely are. And how does your belly feel every time you eat? Are you able to fall back to sleep and self-soothe if you wake up at 2 a.m. and your mind is racing? Are you able to actually unplug when you're sitting down with your partner and having a conversation with them? What's going on in your mind when you're making love or pleasuring yourself? Are you elsewhere? These are all little tiny signs that the compartmentalizing that we do so well, that our brain is so good at because we're trying to survive, might not be so rock solid as we think. And hey, if you're living your life and you're feeling fancy free and awesome, great. But if you have that intuitive thought that I want to be healthier, that is a sign that something isn't quite right. And that's where I would encourage you to start. Again, become aware of your habits and ask for help to start changing them.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that was super healthy. Healthy. I'm sorry, I was reading the word healthy. That was super healthy and helpful.
Awesome. Yay, guys. I'm
All
super
right.
excited about this. I hope that it was really clear, concise, and helpful for everybody. And if you guys have any questions, please drop them below or in the comments.